so hard to get good strawberries.
Oh, I know. We used to live in California. We lived near really the strawberry capital of the world, this valley. And you drive over the hill and you can smell strawberries
Oh,
everywhere. There's just, oh my God, it smells so good. And the biggest strawberries too. And they're almost
oh,
always like super
that's so
juicy,
good.
sweet. Oh, they're so good. But you get anything else, it's like a seasonal thing. And
No,
also,
strawberries are the hardest to get good ones. They'll look good, and then you take them home, and it's like
here's the thing: is that there's professional strawberry packers, right? Like they
no.
they figure out how to put the strawberries inside of that container, so they all look really good. But as soon as you open it up and you pick one up, all like as soon as you turn them over, they're all like yellow on the bottom and everything. It's like, how
It's
did you
like the
do
bag
this?
of onions. The bag of onions always has a couple in there that you really didn't want, but the others looked really good. They know what they're
Right,
doing.
right. You're like, it's like when you were kids and you're picking teams, and you got to pick. It turns out the last couple of guys are like, not the best, but you got to throw those in the onion bag and hide
Yeah,
them.
right, right. All right,
uh,
dude, let's get going. I can't find my
all right,
notes, but
sounds
welcome
good.
to Over 50
I know how
starting
that
over,
goes.
everyone. And this is where we get your inspiration, information, and all that other stuff to all of us that are starting and embarking on our third act, trying to make a difference. And Merle, I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about in the first segment. I am way unprepared because of vacation, which we just got back from, and I've been going a mile a minute ever since.
Man,
Which is
I feel the same way. It's been almost a week and a half since I've been back, and I still feel like I'm catching up too. It's tough.
yeah, yeah, same here. But I can't tell you, like, and as far as anything I got for the second segment, it all came this morning.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, only this morning. As soon as I got up, I'm just teasing this, but I saw that Admiral Alvin Holsey is stepping down, and
Oh, yeah.
has to do with blowing up the narco-terrorists and stuff like that, which we got to talk about. That has driven me crazy since it started happening. I am in the process right now of listening to Glenn Greenwald's latest podcast where he's talking about John Bolton being indicted.
Right.
I have nothing in my notes, but boy, is he going on fire with that.
How
Then
so?
I
Wow.
just did
I
a
can't wait
little
to hear that.
update on former FBI Director Comey, and of course,
Yeah.
like you don't hear
Indicted.
about that
Right.
anymore, and it's getting weaker and weaker as time goes on.
Well, he did get indicted, so we know that
There's
part.
that,
The
and
grand
so
jury
has
indicted
Bolton,
him.
and so
Yep.
did Latricia James, and
I got some great information on that today.
okay, we'll wait
Oh,
a
it's,
few
it's
minutes.
so
And what
fun.
else? Do you have something
It
else
is
to
just so
tease
fun.
for the second?
Way too many things here.
As
Just
always.
on the first part, it's I was doing some research on sugar, and I was hearing all this information about how sugar is causing all these terrible things. Anyhow, we'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
then coming down to the other stuff, I mean, of course, we've got the peace agreement happening in
Oh, right,
Israel.
right. I
We've
forgot all
got
about that.
yeah, right. That thing,
That
that
little
thing
thing.
that happened over there. We've got some other things too. I talked about Latricia James. There's so many other things that are going on. One of the things that's really got me going is this digital ID thing
I
happening
know.
in the
I know.
UK and all
Hmm.
of the implications around that. So
A
we'll
lot
talk
to be
about that
worried
as
about.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
okay.
kidding.
I do want to talk about that sugar segment that you got there. So I want to just briefly, because this could be a whole hour discussion easily, but I was just thinking, walking Charlie and thinking a lot about, because I've been obsessed with money is the root of all evils. And when you look at our government, everything that's gone on, and all of the greed draining the middle class of all of our resources, and the awareness that's happened since 9/11 as a necessity. And I just want to briefly ask you that the tough and easy question of if nobody had to worry about life or death situation of having money to get food and shelter and all of that, if we all of a sudden they disclosed free, what's the word, but energy, renewable energy.
Oh yeah. So we
Which
had like
I
free
really
energy now.
believe
Yeah.
we have.
I think you're right about that.
Right. So that would be the catalyst of, okay, nobody has, it's kind of like it's trying to have the discussion about universal basic income. But when you say that, everybody gets triggered with socialism. So you can't really have the conversation. So I'm trying to have that conversation without saying universal basic income. But nobody has to worry about getting up in the morning and fighting for survival. What would happen to society if they announced next week, all right, we have full disclosure on all this stuff. Nobody has to go to work anymore.
What would happen if no one had to go to work? So like for instance, I could go to the store and just get whatever food I want. It's just whatever I
it would
need.
have to
All
be
my needs are
gradual.
taken care of.
Right? I mean, because otherwise we'd all be running out of our houses down and looting
We
everything.
would.
First
I
the
think that's
cars.
what would happen.
You
Yeah.
go get the best car. You'd be fighting over that.
It's
So
funny
what
because I imagine getting like a whole bunch of potato chips, but yeah, I should get a car.
Now, do you see how this could easily be a 2-hour fun discussion?
Right.
So maybe we need to just wet our whistle with it and move on. But I mean, because I only just thought of this right now as we're talking, it would have to be a slow drip. Otherwise, we would all be looting.
Would go crazy because we would
Yeah.
know. We would know. Like, that's impossible. I got to go get as much as I can before it runs out.
And then you'd just be bringing your guns and everything else.
Right. It'd be like slaughter on the way to the supermarket.
Yeah, right.
Everyone's offing each other. Yeah, I think the slow roll
But
is
in
the way
the
to go
end,
on this.
Let's talk like Star Trek for a minute. Remember the
Okay.
original Star Trek, the premise always was in The Next Generation, the premise always was that
We've
nobody
evolved.
needed to work. There was no money. There was no currency anymore. People worked because they just really wanted to do the right thing and contribute.
I've forgotten about that.
Yeah.
nobody
I always
really
thought
had
about
like
that.
jobs and everything
Right.
like that.
There was no
know.
currency. What if we didn't need currency anymore?
Yeah, it's such a crazy concept to think about. Like no currency. This sounds kind of like heaven, right? Like you don't need to have any currency. Like all your needs are taken care of. There's a tree out there, the tree of life. It grows like pork chops and steaks and any kind of thing. You just grab whatever you need. Like that's heaven right there. And I think one of the problems that I can think of on this side of heaven is that if that were the case, it would almost be like those over the 55 plus areas where they're like, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah over there, man. And we would we really have like a good experience? Like, would
I
our
could think of a
hearts
big
lead
problem.
us into darkness on this whole thing? Is what I'm saying.
That would be eventually, I totally got you there. For sure, because we always talk about, what is the term, the phrase idle time, too much idle
yeah,
time.
idle minds are the devil's workshop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that,
Here's
to
the
me,
first thing,
seems
though,
like
Mo.
that would be it would be idiocracy, I think, is what would happen.
Yeah, here's the first thing that would happen, though, and why, for sure, people in power would not let this happen or do everything they can to not let this happen. And that is, so we're in Rhode Island, Newport, Rhode Island, and at the very tip, the most prestigious place that you would want to be. It's absolutely gorgeous. And you see these giant mansions, and then the Kennedy compounds in Cape Cod, where they own about a quarter of Cape Cod. And
Right.
like, who the hell says that these people can own? Like, I can never touch the most beautiful areas in this country because somebody got lucky and got to them first in some circumstance.
Yeah.
And dude, if there were no currency anymore, that's the first thing, personal property, be like, give me it. Get out of here. There would be no way of maintaining ownership of the biggest things that you would want. including a country.
Yeah, that would be, imagine how crazy that would be. I mean, property ownership, how would we even
Hmm.
make that happen? And
Now we're
I
like
can't,
talking with the Beatles,
yeah,
Imagine
I can't
this.
even imagine
It's a
that
big philosophical conversation.
it really
I'm only
is.
thinking this through right now for the first time in this as we're doing this.
I mean, really, as we think about it, the human experience has always had some form of currency, whether it's currency or the barter system. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how we
Same
really
thing, really.
started. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing. You got to have something of value
Trade.
in order to trade for something of value. And without that, it almost seems like we come to a screeching halt. Like, how do you, because we
Chaos.
can't, yeah, there's really, it's, and then you started out with money is the root of all evil, but there's actually more to that. The whole verse is the love of money is the root of all evil. And here we go. Is this love thing that makes the world go round? It's either the love of self that actually destroys the world, or the love of the agape kind of love where we love our neighbor, right? And it seems to me like when you take money out of that whole situation, I don't know how, I don't know where I'm
I
going with this,
know.
but
I
it's like
know. It's
suddenly,
very.
suddenly what? Like
I know. Like you
what could
could.
happen?
This is where, in the country's most divisive time, so it seems. I've heard arguments. People are like, "You think now's divisive? You should see right before the Civil War," and things like that. But
Yeah,
this is how
truly.
similar the right and left really are. Because I could see someone on the right saying, see, we're worshiping false idols. We need money to keep an order of things, but the agape form of love is the correct kind of, and if you have a spiritual guidance north star, then everything will be much better and in
Truly.
society keep in order. Now the left is simply going to say, because I've heard this all, the same argument. If it just weren't for these greedy bastards, this would be a utopia because everything's fine until you get a couple greedy people get out of hand. And that's the same thing that you guys would say on the right, a Christian group would say on the right. So it gets us to the same place as we both want this utopia. But here's the thing. If there's an opportunity, capitalism is all based on harnessing greed,
No,
the
I
power
would
of
say,
greed.
hold on, because I want to debate that because I personally think that there's a form of capitalism that is the proper thing that America is actually based on, and it's compassionate capitalism. And
Doesn't the
here,
left talk about this all the time?
I don't know. I think it's a
Go
left
ahead.
and right
Explain
thing.
that, please.
Okay, so here's the thing. Once governments put their grubby little fingers into the middle of it and start messing with the balance of the free market and our Republican style of government, a representative style of government is what I'm talking about here, where it's truly a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and the market works things out for themselves. No regulatory
You sound like a
forces that are
libertarian,
actually
pure
making
libertarian.
things happen. Well, this is what passionate capitalism is actually built on: is that the market actually works on its own, and it weeds out bad behavior. The way that it works is that if you are producing a product that is a good quality product that people are going to buy from you, and that you might have a competitor that tries to sell it, whoever has the best quality is going to get the business. But what we see here today is it's not really compassionate capitalism. I would argue that it's fascism because you have these corporate entities now that have conglomerated together under these types of hedge funds where there's no more competition any longer. And then you've got these regulatory forces in our government that are trying to price fix everything. So, and they're trying to control the prices so that people can't compete. And when they actually are competing, it's a fake because they're all owned by the same hedge fund company. So
True.
there's no real incentive to produce a quality product. There's no real incentive to do it at the lowest possible price because there's no competition. And that opens up the door for all kinds of other nefarious activities where, okay, so if we all have the same product and it looks like we're competing with each other, we could probably start fudging the system, start adding products into it that make our product cheaper. We make a bigger profit. It might kill everybody in the meantime, but who cares? Because nobody's going to know because there's no real
Yeah.
competition here. That's
Mhm.
not capitalism any longer. That's fascism. And we can see the dangers in fascism right now. We're going to talk about sugar and how these sugar additives that they've actually, this isn't actually real, like God's sweetness here. These are manufactured chemicals that they're
Yes.
putting in our products that taste like sugar. It's real cheap for them to produce this stuff, so they make a lot more money.
You
And in
get
the
fat
meantime, we end up getting fat, we get
because your body doesn't know how
diabetes,
to
we
price
get
process it.
Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
we get cancer, we go into the grave. But
Mm.
who cares because we're making all of this money, and look
Yes.
at the stock market. That's
Okay.
what has, and now
Yeah,
people are
that's a good
calling
point.
that capitalism. That's not capitalism. So the greed that's happening here usually gets weeded out by compassionate capitalism. That's not happening anymore because regulatory forces and hedge funds are preventing it from happening.
Let me ask you something, because that is so libertarian and pure, and there's varying degrees of offshoots of libertarian, and so
That's
they
true.
fight amongst
Absolutely.
themselves.
Yeah, they
Um,
do.
but
And they kind of destroy themselves actually by doing that.
yeah. Some really pure libertarian philosophy is even monopolies cannot exist if you have a free market. And they just say simply, and maybe this is what you were saying.
Not
So this is
possible. Correct.
a question, and it's leading to the hedge fund problem. But
Which is
they will
huge.
say that a pure free market it's this simple. You make a great product at a certain price, charge whatever the hell you want, because somebody has the opportunity to come down in there and create the
Yes,
same product for a lower price. Boom, there
that's
you
right.
go. So even if you say band together and work in cahoots with a couple other people and corner the market, eventually it's still going to create a giant opportunity. It's kind of like a cartel. Think about cartels. In Mexico, people can then depersonalize it. And the gangs, the drug gangs, and they get
Yeah.
so big that, it's like, well, we got to take them out so that people, control the drug problem and all that. Well, you take them out, there's a giant void there somebody's going to fill. Maybe that's not the
True.
best analogy, but so even if you have three companies that decide to work in cahoots together to form this monopoly on a product and artificially raise the price, a pure libertarian point of view would be eventually it still creates such an opportunity that somebody will fill it and create that same product at a lower price.
Well, here's the problem, though, Barry, is that I'm with you most of the way here,
I'm not
and
sure I believe in it.
I
I'm just
love what you.
explaining it.
Well, I
I'm
love the
not sure I
cartel
believe it.
analogy because it does relate to monopolies. The cartel, and the reason it's called a cartel is because they prevent competition by usually illegal ways that kill you.
Right.
But that's really what monopolies do is they have figured out a way to illegally, well, sometimes legally, but they prevent competition. You look at the hedge funds and what they're doing. They're causing huge blocks of business to be owned by the same business owner so that there's no competition here, and they're so big that if I wanted to compete with, let's say, the Walmarts of the world, I don't have the capital to actually go up against this
Mm,
huge conglomeration.
mm.
So it's just like a cartel. And as in cartels, where the business always leads to the most profitable thing, it's usually going to end up, what are the most profitable things? Illegal drugs. And now we have the child sex trafficking and
Uh,
the slavery thing. That's where cartels have gone to. But look at where the hedge funds have gone to. We just went through this whole COVID thing where it
well,
was really the
everywhere.
hedge funds that were demanding that we all take this COVID shot. Turns out that the COVID shot is detrimental to all of our health. It's the same thing going on with cartels as with these types of organizations. And that's why I say, these are the things we need to be. What is these antitrust laws that we have on the books? Why
Okay, let
aren't we
me ask you.
using them?
Very important question, because here's my theory. I've not read this. And it's kind of a question you and I should just kind of put our brains together on this. Can we not break up the hedge fund? For one, they're just too rich and powerful. I think they're more power. I know they're more powerful than our government.
They are.
Yes. But, and also, do they not trigger antitrust laws because they own pieces of every company, not one big company? Know what I mean?
So that's a great question. It's nuanced, right?
Yeah.
It is
It's
nuanced, but
not,
when
yeah, the antitrust laws weren't made for, we never thought of something like that back then.
and at the same time, it's purely antitrust, right? Like this is
The
happening, but
spirit
it's
of it.
happening in a
Yeah.
yeah, but it's
And
happening in a
that's
different
true.
way.
Things, the
That's
spirit of
absolutely
the
true.
law means something.
In fact, the spirit of the law is what the law is. And so you have to take a look at this. But these people are so smart, they're so clever, and
Powerful.
they've got the best lawyers out there. That's what
Yes,
I'm
they
saying.
do.
It's for John Q. Public to try to compete with these people. How can you do it? Because what we've done is we've created a monster with our type of culture that we have. And the monster was like this big when it first started out. He was kind of cute, you know. Now he's
Like
huge.
Amazon. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
Godzilla, you know. He's got
Amazon was like
freaking
kind of cute.
lasers coming
Yeah.
out of his eyes.
Yeah, yeah, that's true,
How
man.
are we gonna? This is way worse than Jurassic Park here. So we've got, but we don't have a choice. Somehow we've got to deal with this because the alternative isn't good, man.
Yeah, right.
These kinds of things are, when you look at compassionate capitalism, the thing about compassionate capitalism is that it actually has a heart. The behind compassionate capitalism is an actual compassionate heart. That's what we're talking about. And compassion is when you see somebody hurting, out of your own resources, you'll go and help that person. That's what compassionate capitalism actually is. And when you find that you can help people in their trouble, it pays off. It's a perpetual thing. It's like investing love into a situation always pays off. But with the form of government we have now, you
Boy,
take
do
the
I
heart
see it.
completely out of it,
Yes.
and now
Yeah.
the heart has waxed cold, and it's more like the insect world. I'll bite your head off. You know what I mean? Like
No,
there's
man, you
no
make a
compassion.
great point. They robbed us of the opportunity to have that agape love. To,
And you can see it in society. It's now you can easily manipulate the hearts of people because it's
yeah.
not rooted in this love. Like love is rooted in like a rock. The storm comes, it's not going to move. But when you take love out of it, it's in the sinking sand, right?
Yeah.
It's vulnerable to the wind and the heat, the whatever. It's not stable any longer, and now we've got an unstable society.
We do. So I always believe that the government should be only a necessary framework, and there
I
should be,
agree. Yes.
yeah. And if there's any kind of a department we need, it's a department of anti-corruption, and
Oh
it's
boy.
instead of more and more laws and more committees and more departments of this and bigger IRS, what we need is a part of, I guess you could say, well, Doge is supposed to be that, maybe a start,
I don't
but
know,
we
Barry.
need something that keeps trimming the fat at all times.
I like where you're going. I don't want it to be a government
You're
organization, right?
right. You're
It's
right.
got to be a citizen
Because we
run or
never screw things
voluntary.
up with NGOs.
All right, you got me on that one.
No, I didn't mean to. It was total sarcasm.
That was good.
You
That was
know
good,
what I
though.
thought about
But
with
it's the heart of
NGOs?
people. We got to change the heart of people. That's
Yeah.
what the real problem is
We got to give it
hold on to that
back.
thought. Hold on to that thought because I wanted to go back to this whole notion of the love of money. And what we've just established here is that they've taken the love out of business. And so you can only focus your love in one place, right? Like if you, so we've taken it from the agape love to the love of money, which is really the love of self, which
Yes.
equals usually death
Yes.
to you and those around you.
Certainly
And now
soul killing.
yeah, we can see this, right? It's
Yes.
it's it's very clear. Now you were going to make a point about the was it the
Oh, I was
NGOs?
just real quick. I was thinking about NGOs. NGOs are like, I had that a realization about when we were talking about the FBI's involvement with January 6th and that debate and everything, or with what's her name, the abduction in Michigan. Um, but anyways,
With Whitmer?
yes, Whitmer,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we find out either there are FBI informants in there. There's some kind of like
Yeah,
what the
they
FBI
they
will do
enticed people to do
is
this.
use citizens. If somebody's busted for a drug crime, great. Now you're our agent. You're our double agent. You're going to do this for us. You're going
That's
to do
right.
that for
It's
You're
true.
going to do what we can't do. We're bound
Right.
by law to not be able to do this stuff. Now we got you, and we're going to blackmail you into doing. And they do that with all these people. That's what I see. Isn't that just an NGO as well?
Mm,
A
mm.
non-government organization is what I mean by that. And
Yes. Yeah.
you could say a Halliburton or any of these other, what's some of the large, Lockheed Martin, any of these companies that are really working alongside, they're government adjacent, but they're kind
Hmm.
of but they're technically private.
Hmm.
Don't you see that being the same thing? It's like we need NGOs because we're not legally allowed to.
Oh, absolutely. Look
There
at
you
what
go.
happened in the Darien Pass and how we
Oh
brought all
yeah,
those people up here,
and that
millions and
is
millions of people.
the immigrant smuggling place in Central America, is it not?
Right, right.
Yeah,
In Panama is where the Darien
yeah,
Pass is. It's
yeah.
very dangerous. But you had all these NGOs that were out there, American companies, a lot, most of them
Remember, they were
actually.
supposed to be building a road
Yeah,
through
yeah,
there.
they were going to build they're probably it's probably like the most beautiful road ever. It's amazing how much money these NGOs have, but
Yeah,
it turns out that the NGOs are getting free money from the government. And
yeah,
and
our
there's
money,
there's it's all
free
tax
money.
dollars. It's
Yeah,
all either tax dollars or money that was printed. By the way, the government shutdown has a lot to do with what's going on here is that they want that money, that $1.5 trillion dollars to keep feeding into these types of organizations. Um, but look at this. Look at what's happened with these NGOs and how they've been able to fleece this country, really ruin the country now that we're trying to right size it. And I always thought this was going to be really, I knew it was going to be ugly getting these illegal immigrants out of the country.
sure.
And of course, the optics are terrible, but
The
they're
optics are
all
terrible.
caused by the fact that we allowed this to happen. These NGOs came in that
Incentivize
were
them.
quasi-government organizations that we're actually paying for. When they print that money, it's not free money. It's coming out of the value of the money that we
Of
have,
course,
lowering the value of the dollar
inflation.
and lowering our purchasing power.
There you go.
And so this is how we get into the situation that we're in. And now we have a government shutdown, and all these people are pointing at our president and saying, this guy is a tyrannical maniac who is a Nazi. Look, this is exactly what the Nazis did. They kicked
Yeah,
out all the Jews. And it's
Nazis.
just really like, that's not what happened here. You let millions of people into our country and we couldn't stop it from happening. Meanwhile, you locked us down in our houses. We couldn't go out. You made us afraid that we were all going to die of this disease that was totally fake.
Maybe most importantly, in that the result is crushing hundreds of thousands of family-owned businesses in favor of big business.
the Walmarts of the world. Or look, I just did a lookup, Barry. Who is the largest employer in the United States beside the
Government.
government?
Oh,
It's Walmart.
is that right?
Yeah,
I was
it
wondering if it
is.
was Amazon. Amazon's got to be
No,
close.
they're probably in there pretty close, but Walmart's still the king. And look how they destroyed all of these family businesses all
Right.
across America. I
Right.
mean, that's and really, it's small business still today makes up the bulk of our GDP.
It's
But
amazing.
but that's a thing that's it's an endangered
It
species. Let's
is.
put it that
The
way.
middle class, in other words, is an
That's
endangered
right.
species.
That's
And
right.
I always like to remind people that COVID was a $5 trillion transfer of wealth from the middle class
Wow,
to the
5 trillion.
rich.
That's unfathomable.
It
Like we
is.
can't even imagine a million, really.
Correct.
But a trillion, let's say, like, what is it? Is it a trillion?
Can't
It's like a
imagine.
1,000 billion, right?
I think there's something intentional about that. They just throw trillion around all the time. Now the Pentagon's budget is a
I
trillion.
think you're right.
It's nothing like, oh, it's just 1 trillion.
No, remember back in the TARP, remember TARP under George Bush?
I
It
don't.
was the
What was that?
bailout. It's the bailout, the housing crisis,
Oh God, yeah.
and
Oh
so
yeah.
it was $900 billion,
Taxpayer
and the
money.
reason it wasn't $1 trillion is because they were afraid to say $1 trillion, so they had to just go 100 million short of that and say it was 900 billion. Of course, after everything was settled, after it got passed, it turned out to be trillions of dollars, but
Yeah.
they told us it was 900 billion. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, Barry. The whole $1 trillion, $1 billion trick that they did on
Hmm.
us. This is all theater,
It
right? It's
is.
like, don't look at what this hand is doing. Meanwhile, you know what I mean? It's
And
this.
people do not talk enough about $37 trillion in debt. I mean, dude, the media and the government is just in cahoots to just keep throwing
Yes.
shiny objects out there so you don't talk about it. You know who is? I've listened to some good podcasts while I was on vacation, a couple. But Marjorie Taylor Greene was interviewed by maybe Tucker, somebody like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
And she gave a really good interview. And she was just like, look, nobody likes me, not even the Republicans. And they shouldn't, because I want to
Donald
talk
Trump
about,
doesn't even like her.
yeah, healthcare crushing the country, and the 37 trillion in debt. Also, who was the other? Oh, I sent that to you just the other day. The dude from the congressman from Knoxville says
Is it Moss?
"dad gum" all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's on
I
the
didn't listen to that.
Oh, it's really good. Oh, because you probably didn't, because it was all wrapped in this thing about disclosure of UFOs and stuff. But they
Oh,
really
I
talked
am
about
interested.
that maybe a quarter of the time. But he's a salt of the earth guy. He's known as, I'm going to have to, when I get a second, look his name up, because Mitch, no. But he's known as being the most broke guy in Congress, and that's why people trust him. And I mean, literally,
Funny.
he's got nothing. Did you say something?
I said that's funny.
Oh, he's got, yeah, like no money to his name, but he's a really solid guy, and he just talks about the ethics. And he even said, he goes, when this interview comes out, I guarantee you that I'll have friends, he says in quotes, come up to me at lunch in DC and be like, oh, that was a really good interview you did there. Could you not talk about that stuff anymore? And he says that's just protocol. And he talked about all kinds of things, like when Congress wants that, like they feel really pressured and like they're getting pressured by their constituents to do something, they'll just do a study, and they'll pass the study through Congress. So nothing, it looks like they're doing something. And he goes, Congress is just chock full of studies, like top to bottom. So nothing can get done.
Oh, and Nancy Pelosi talks about how they use these things as well. I forgot what they call it, but the way that they put something out there, but then they have a study done on it first, and then an article, and then they make it look like it's true by doing this kind of stuff. This is the craziest stuff is going on over there all the time. Is it Tim Burchett?
Yes, that's him. Yes, that's
Yep,
him. I
yep.
really like him. And
I don't know a
the
lot
dis-
about him.
the
I just looked up a
disclosure thing.
congressman who says "dag gum" all the time. He came right up.
That's so funny. You know anybody that says that dadgum thing
I've
is
never heard.
salt of the
They're
earth
only
guy.
on TV. Do you hear the
Yeah,
character? These are
but
characters.
just briefly, there's so much that people are trying to do with this disclosure of what technology we are hiding, and everybody. If you're not if you
Yeah,
don't follow
right.
this stuff, you just go,
Yeah, this is
oh,
true.
aliens, and all that, and I don't know, but what are the drones and what is? Look, if it
Now we're hearing it from credible sources. What is it?
all the
Anna Luna.
time, yeah,
She
Luna,
seems very credible.
yeah.
And this, is it aliens or is it demonic or is it these super uber rich one worlders that are out there? And these NGOs, some of them have as much cash as many countries out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and they have look at the World Economic Forum and look at the billionaires that are all around that,
Mm.
and listen to their rhetoric. They have enough money between them, and many of them run the hedge funds. By the way, it looks like Larry Fink from BlackRock is going to take over the World Economic
Oh
Forum.
God, of course.
I
Oh
mean,
my
it
God.
seems so.
One
It's like, how
James
did we
Bond
not
villain
guess
to the
that,
next.
right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
seems like they
You know
get
who's right up
worse
there?
though. When we're like, oh, we need to get rid of this guy, then you get rid of him, and a way worse
Yeah.
person comes in.
Soros, has his son who's just as evil as he is, taking over the empire. Then
Oh,
Larry Ellison of Oracle, he's got his
oh my
hands
God,
in
it's
everything, and his
scary.
son is just the
Ah,
same
here he
coming up,
comes. Yeah, he runs
groomed.
what is it, CNN or one of these places.
Oh, he
Anyway,
just bought that. They're trying to corner all the
he's got his
major
son in
community.
there.
Dude, it's like Israel just is all into TikTok, and Larry Ellison just
Yes,
bought TikTok, and he's
that's
the
right.
big Israel guy. He actually offered Netanyahu a place on the board when Netanyahu was in between rulings.
Oh, I hadn't heard that, but that
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
to make sense to me.
Oh, they're so in bed. And so he buys TikTok because they need, I mean, they got the over 70 crowd. They will always
Yes.
be brainwashed into Israel. But the young people are like, man, what's with this Israel stuff? Why we do all this crazy stuff? And so they need TikTok. They know it.
Well,
In
and
fact, did you hear the recording of Netanyahu talking about
no,
TikTok, the importance of
no.
it?
Oh, yeah, yeah. It sounded like he was saying that they were buying TikTok.
The same thing, but I mean, he was talking about it like it was like taking over Syria or something.
Well,
Like just
he was,
typical.
and he talked about how it would be used to implement this. Well, so it sounded like brainwashing kind of
Yeah,
techniques that they would
dude.
use to tell us how great Israel is. Right?
Mossad probably has a big ray gun on us right now. Messing with our thoughts.
I mean, when you say Mossad, like nothing ever good comes to mind.
By the way, that's the Israel CIA, which is supposed
Right.
to be, by all accounts, more sophisticated.
That's
The
what they
most.
say. It's the most in the world, which is
Yeah.
why I don't believe that October 7th could have been pulled off without a hitch the way that it was.
Every credible smart person says that was rather. It's kind of like us enticing people to come through the border during the 4-year reign of the deep state. That was
Yeah.
kind of what they kind of pulled over
That was their
there with.
vision,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. Interestingly, I saw
Oh,
a reporter talking about that, and they were talking about Larry Ellison and
uh,
what Larry Ellison said. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It was pretty ominous. What he said is the police will be on their best behavior
oh,
because we're
right.
monitoring everything, and
And
the
we're gonna.
citizens will be on their best behavior as well because we're monitoring everything. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was just kind of like this
Uh,
sinister tone to the whole thing. So this newscaster was talking about it, and she was kind of mocking it and mocking him and going, the citizens will be in their best behavior, like
yeah,
this
yeah.
evil scientist. that woman got lambasted as an anti-Semite for doing that.
Dude,
And
I
see,
have come.
this is the tactic, right?
Mhm,
Like, if
mhm.
you are against the movement of the globalists, they're going to label you with something like
A bigot.
you're a bigot, you're a misogynist,
Hmm.
you're the most you're an anti, like right now I think being called an anti-Semite is probably the number one
Yeah.
curse
Mhm.
word you
It's a
could
bigot.
defame
It's a
somebody
bigot.
with.
If
Right.
I'm
It's
not
not
being
just a
called a
bigot.
bigot, dude, I'm on the wrong side of things.
Right. And oh, I heard Gutfeld say this. He was talking about that guy cracks me up. He was talking about
He's
how
funny.
the new N word is Nazi, and
Oh,
he was like,
sure.
they're calling us Nazis all the time, and pretty soon somebody's going to come out and say, "What's up, my Nazi?"
Menazi? I don't.
Instead of my N word. You know how black people are always saying, "What's up, my N word?" And now it's okay. Never
Oh,
mind.
now I got it. I got it. I did not get it at all.
I'm terrible at telling jokes,
Ah,
Barry.
no, you're not. You're really good at telling. Yeah, you're good at your stories. Your funny stories
Okay,
for
all
sure.
right. When it
I
comes to telling a joke, I normally forget the punchline, so I'm really I'm
What's
really
up,
good
my
at telling the
Nazi?
story
I
part.
got you. I did not get it at first, but I'm kind of
It'll be a
dumb.
cool thing to say
Like
to each
everybody
other
else
after a
got it.
while.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. We should really kick that off and get that going.
I mean,
Um,
come on, like the whole thing is so crazy when you think about what a Nazi is, and the people that are calling the other people Nazis are more the
are the
Nazis than
fascists completely
yeah,
fascist?
exactly.
Dude, that's a
So
projection party, though. They've been
it
doing
really
that
is.
for 10 years, at least, more than that.
At least
Everything they're
it's
doing,
whatever
they
they
accuse other
say.
people. Yeah.
That's exactly right. It's so easy. It's like it's easy as figuring out who the bad guys are in Scooby Doo, right? It's at the end, when you unmask them, it's the same person again,
Yeah, that dude's just wearing a mask. I know. I've seen this before. Yeah.
right? Right?
What do you know about? Let's just hit a couple of these. Oh, I wanted to
I want to.
say this one about
Okay.
Admiral Avenhos. He's stepping down, and he's stepping
Oh
down
yeah, yeah.
because of the drug boats in Venezuela. I've been since that first one a few weeks ago. We went over it pretty well and showed the video. I've been really bothered by the optics of it.
I
Because
know.
whether you can argue that there's some kind of justification for blowing people to bits without any judge, jury, executioner, your judge, jury, and executioner with no proof or anything, I don't believe that that looks good. If you are like major Trump guy and you could figure out all the talking points to meander your crowd through there and find justification, you got to realize, boy, that looks really bad to the left, and to me, the independent, and the entire rest of the world who's now turning on you and thinking that this looks really authoritarian. That's where I'm at with all this. This
No,
is
I get that.
lots
I
of
get
bad
that.
optics
I
going
think a
on.
lot of people are feeling pretty bad about that, and I have a take on this
And we're
too.
going to war with this. We all know, we've been saying for weeks, it's because we want war with Venezuela to take their oil and put in a kind of a puppet regime. But
Well,
go, I'm sorry.
of
Yeah.
course. I mean, this is we're America, right? That's what we do. We go and we take over stuff,
That's why we
and
look
there
so
is
bad.
something called the Monroe Doctrine, which
The
is
Monroe
something.
Doctrine.
Monroe Doctrine.
Okay.
It comes from President Monroe from the 1800s, and it's a part of our American policy, which says that we patrol those waters that are outside of Venezuela and in the Caribbean and everything like that, the Gulf of Mexico. All of that is those are areas that can be used to attack the United States, and that we've claimed jurisdiction over those areas. So when drug boats are coming in, we've actually declared war on drugs. So and that's actually been going on for decades now. So that if in a war, when the enemy crosses a certain line, we don't ask them, hey, put your hands up, let's stop and frisk. We don't do that in a war. We shoot the enemy. And so it's this war on drugs, war on terror. We've spent trillions of dollars on all of this stuff. So we legalized it under any administration. They can take out a cartel trying to come over. We can blow those people to smithereens. Probably no one's going to say anything when they know it's the cartel doing it, and it's the optics of the water now that's making it seem like, wait a second, that doesn't seem right. I agree that it's uncomfortable. It
Oh,
looks
it's
like
worse
we're
than
headed
that.
for a very ugly thing with Venezuela. We've got ships out there now. 10% of our naval force is outside of Venezuela right now.
Yeah.
We've got B-1 bombers or B-52s. I don't know what it is, but all that stuff is out there. It looks like we're going to take Maduro out of Venezuela,
Right.
who, by the way, here's the deal. Um, we know that Maduro, much like what happened in Cuba, that Venezuela has been taken over by the communists. They hate America. They want to destroy America.
So what? Everybody
This
does.
is a
A
place
lot
that
more
is
people gonna.
inside of that Monroe Doctrine area where it becomes a credible threat if missiles are pointed at us that can hit us from Venezuela pretty easily.
So
And
those
we
are the
know that's
talking
what
points. Okay.
those are the talking points, and that's why we're doing it. But is it right? That's morally
Yeah.
right. Is it morally right
It's
to
the
on
2
both
minus
sides of
10
things?
equals 20 game. And that is, I mean, we could throw out those talking points and kill a whole bunch of people using that as much as you want, but it's still like for every two of these people that we kill, like the war on drugs is such a success, you're creating 20 more terrorists for
Maybe,
people that
maybe.
hate us. And
What
the
would be the
world
solution,
hates us
though?
more and more. Invest in our country, not and stay out of these. Just stay out of this BS. This is
Here's something to think about here is each one of those boats potentially, let's just say that they actually do have the drugs on there. What we're hearing is that fentanyl is coming across. Lots of over 100,000 of our very young people are dying from overdose every year. That is an act of war, and so you know we do have to protect our shores, and the federal government is tasked with that according to the Constitution. So
yeah.
we
You
do
just
have to
don't
do
blow them out of the water. You just seize them, sell their boats in auctions and things like that. Get some money back, prosecute them, and do what Americans do. This isn't
what we've
American stuff.
what we've heard is that the boats are now minimized. This is what we've heard. Of course, this it looks like we've curtailed that supply chain coming into the United States. I wonder if that's true or not.
I don't
But if
believe any
that
of
is
this.
true, that's a good thing. How else can we stop it? I like what you said right there. Rather than blow them out of the water, stop them, take the drugs, put them in, maybe even, who knows? I mean, bringing that type of load of drugs in, people have been executed for less than that. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I do know one thing. Something's up in Venezuela. Look at all of the people they sent into the United States from Venezuela through the Darien Pass. Um, one estimate is that we've got over 100,000 Venezuelans in here that can be triggered at any moment to attack the United States. Why did they send
Well, this
all of
should
their
trigger them.
prisoners over here?
I don't know. It once again, it's just I get all of the justification. If you search long and hard enough, you could tell your team this is why we're doing. Here's your, here's how we justify it. But the left is still just got all of this like huge ammunition, like pretty irrefutable. The entire rest of the world still got all of that horrifying, all the horrifying optics of it. I
No, I
just,
know. I know.
I
Well,
just
you look
don't
at
think
Tren
any
de
of this is it.
Agua and what's happened in many of our cities with that terrorist group. Really, it's a gang that we've considered to be a terrorist group. They've taken over property in many of our cities. They're doing terrible things there, and they all came from Venezuela. So there seems to be a war, an act of war that had happened towards us to begin with. And look at the history of Venezuela as well. Back to your original comment of we want that oil. Well, we had this great alliance with Venezuela for so many years, and Venezuela was one of the premier like they are very prosperous country, and they've done very well until who was that guy? I can't remember his name. Uh, he's no longer in power there, but he changed the whole country into a communist country. And now they're eating out of trash cans. You've got
Yeah.
tanks going up and down the
I
streets.
think it took 3 years, if I recall.
Yeah, it was so quick. It was the downfall of Venezuela. Now
Somebody
it's a
said,
criminal capital of the world now.
yeah, somebody said back then we are so oil rich that nothing could ever undo this country. I forget how it was said. And then
Right.
it took 3 years.
It went down,
Right down the
down,
toilet.
down. Exactly. So it is a case history in what can happen to a prosperous country. And many people I have a friend from Venezuela who is so mad at the politics that are happening here in this country, especially over the last 5 years, because she's saying that this is exactly how Venezuela fell when I lived there. And this is why I had to leave Venezuela. Now, where would I go if this country falls?
Ah, right. Yeah, well, this country needs, we need to regain some footing, and that's putting it lightly. Hey, I was trying to figure out who the heck I was talking about earlier. Glenn Greenwald is interviewing right now on this podcast. I'm about halfway through. But then I just saw, so I was trying to look it up. He last week also interviewed Nick Fuentes, who I've been
Hearing
hearing
that guy's
about
name a lot.
constantly over
Where's
the
this
last
guy?
several months. About 6 months ago, I had no idea who he is. I think today he's about
Young
30,
guy.
32 years old. He's considered very far right. Dave Smith just had him on. I just finished his interview. So I've heard about 3 different interviews with Nick Fuentes in the last 2-3 weeks now. And he's a very young guy. Have you ever heard of the Groypers?
No.
Really, I'm surprised about that.
The
I
what?
had to look up the Groypers a couple times.
Groypers?
Those are his followers. And so Fuentes has been kicked off of Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. He's been censored out the ass. He's put on a no-fly list. He was at January 6th and gave a speech, but he did not go into the Capitol or anything. They tried to try him, and they did not have grounds to. And so he's been censored out the ass, and it's a case of, it's another kind of, it's a nice, like there's a lot I don't agree with him. He's very much a white, he's very much into racial stuff. And
I don't like that.
yeah, I know, but at the same time, I like everything that pushes the boundaries of censorship and tests our First Amendment, because it needs tested now more than ever. It's both sides keep
Go with that.
bringing up hate speech and bullshit like that, and and man, there's so much stuff that is being said that I hate, that I think is harmful, but at the same time, it needs to be combated with better speech. You need to know that these ideas
That's
are
right.
out there.
That is exactly. I totally agree with you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes,
I mean,
yes.
but if it makes you super uncomfortable, welcome to America. There better
Yeah.
be some things out there being said that make you really angry and uncomfortable. Otherwise,
and-
we're being censored.
And also, what is the point of having a free speech amendment? It's not for speech everybody likes, right? That's why it's there. We're not afraid of ideas when we can communicate our own ideas, and the truth has a ring to it that people can hear and feel. And so that's why this whole concept of reason is so important. And
This
it
is
says-
a really, what you said right there, because of the attempt, more than an attempt, the success at taking critical thinking away from us.
yes.
that's free speech related. I mean, that
Well,
goes hand in hand with free
sure
speech.
does. And it goes, the Bible says this, that everything a man says sounds right until you hear the other
That's
person's side
so
of the
true,
story.
man. That's so true. I think
um,
I told you before in college when I took a lot of philosophy. When I took Principles of Ethics, I loved it. I loved it. I read so much of that book. And it'd be like, okay, it was opposing arguments by some of the greatest minds around at that time. It'd be like, okay, so the death penalty, here's the pros for it. I read that whole couple pages and I'm like, well, hell yeah, that's irrefutable. Then I read the counter argument. Well, hell yeah, that's irrefutable. It's complete opposite.
right.
Smart people can make really good arguments.
That whole concept of until you hear the other side. I just wanted to bring up Letitia James here because remember, she's the one that brought, I see we're running low on time here, so that's
Yeah,
fine. I did want to say this.
sure.
So here's the deal. She went after Trump on mortgage fraud. Now she's being
Say,
nailed for mortgage fraud. And it was because she said that she had this house in New Jersey that she was going to live in full time while she had a house in New York. Well, in order to get that house in New Jersey, at a lower price, she had to say that was going to be her primary residence, which that was a lie. And now she's been indicted on that particular thing. Well, here's what's come out since then that I think is kind of funny. Um, they have found that this house not only is this a place that is not her primary residence, but Letitia James has housed her fugitive relative in her Virginia house for 5 years, according to reports. The under fire prosecutor's grandniece, Nikita Thompson, has been living with her three children in James' three-bedroom property in Norfolk since 2020. I guess it's Virginia. It's now been revealed that Thompson is officially listed as an absconder who is wanted by authorities in Forsyth County, North Carolina, for failing to finish her probation. Okay, that's pretty bad.
it
She's
is, but
hiding.
it took that long to find this out.
I know, right? That's a great point. But then just this morning, Barry, more information came out. Letitia James is a budding real estate tycoon um, who houses interesting tenants in her now famous Virginia houses. What? She's got more than one of these houses. She's got another grandniece who is the sister of this other niece. Her name is Kyla Thompson Harrison, who lives in another house that's owned by James that have been the center of the Federal Criminal Act. This person is an OnlyFans star with the public. She's X-rated social media presence, was charged in April of 2024 with lying about her felony criminal record when she tried to buy a gun in Suffolk, Virginia, according to court docs. She was legally disqualified from owning a firearm. Dude, this is some bad stuff here, Barry.
It is
She's
if
got
it's
like a couple
true.
houses. Well, you know what? All of this is going to come out, but it's kind of funny. She's got people living in these houses, and they appear to be fugitives.
Well, I mean, I do think that's funny too, but I don't know. It's not
People in
sure
glass
if I
houses.
believe it or if we're ever going to hear of this again.
I bet you
Um,
we are. I think the Tish James thing is the stuff people want to hear about. I don't think that's going away. I bet you we hear more about that than we hear about Bolton and Comey.
yeah, Bolton. That's an interesting one, man. So Greenwald really is laying into him, and which is kind of surprising to me, but really laying into him and laying out. He really unpacks the sources and stuff. and laying out how Bolton was just always talking about how people needed to hang or be shot or for
I've
divulging
heard
this
that.
kind of
Yeah,
information and that kind
yeah.
of, and he's throwing
And
all
then
this
he's doing
stuff
it.
out left and right on unsecured channels to person number one, person number two, which Greenwald says I'm sure is his wife and his daughter, and accumulating all of this secret information so that he could publish it in a book for his own
Yes.
read.
Well, when that book came out, it was a big deal because there was information in there that everybody knew was classified information
Yeah,
that shouldn't
yeah.
be out there. And do you know who he's saying his number one ally was in the White House for this information?
Hmm.
It was Mike Pence.
No.
And now Mike Pence is looking at an indictment himself right now, is what I'm hearing.
Wow. Really?
Not
Well,
only for
okay.
that, but for his role in the January 6th event.
Wow, that's kind of big. Okay, again, wait and see if, what transpires there. There was something else. Oh, Bolton. It was also said that other countries' spy people, intelligence, had intercepted a lot of his classified information because he was sharing it on unsecured channels. So, I mean, this guy,
Right.
man,
I
jeez.
mean, seriously, this is so crazy. And at the same time, this is going to be used as a, oh, Trump's just trying to get retribution. And I mean, like, okay, the
There's a
guy
lot of
appears,
retribution to be had, justifiably,
I
by the
mean,
way.
that's the case, right?
Yeah,
Is that there's a lot to be had here. I mean, these people are guilty of treason, really.
they
And
really are. Government
so when you
election interference on all kinds of levels, and that's treasonous.
Um, it is. I wanted to also bring up, I know we're running out of
Yeah,
time, this
yeah, we
whole
are.
thing that's happening with England and the digital
Okay.
ID that's happening here.
Uh-huh.
Something about the World Economic Forum's plan for you straight out of their website is the goal is to gradually and incrementally bring about a situation where every aspect of life, banking, food, travel, healthcare, energy usage, internet, social media, communications, etc., require a valid digital ID without which you are locked out. So here's what we're talking about is that if you didn't take the latest mandatory mRNA vaccination, your
Mm-hmm.
digital ID
Mm-hmm.
becomes invalid.
Mm-hmm.
Posted misinformation on social media, digital ID invalid. Exceeding your carbon allowance this month, again, digital
Mm-hmm.
ID.
Mm-hmm.
This is the scary part here, and it's already starting. Like this is going to come into being in the UK starting at the end of this year.
And
It's going to be
they'll gladly usher it on in, just like they have all the Muslims give their country away, and now they're going to do this. I mean, it is amazing. They're worse than Canadians in these
Well,
regards.
you know what? I mean, they have got to stand up for themselves here
There's not
because
many of them left to do that. I mean,
I hear you.
I mean, I always remember this. I talked about this several months ago. Somebody was on, oh, I remember his name. Daryl Cooper was on Rogan and he was talking about, man, I love diversity because he's been under fire for Nazi, because he was trying to show a more sympathetic side of what happened in Nazi Germany at that time. So just
Hmm.
more realistic. He's being called, and he's talking. I'll make this real quick. He says, I love diversity. Diversity is what makes this world worth living. I love going to Italy and experiencing Italian culture, Ireland, and the Irish over there. It's great. And America's the melting pot, the only country in the world like this. But all of Europe is now becoming Muslim. They've given their
Yes,
countries away. There's
they
no
really have.
diversity that is going to be had anymore.
No, no. In
So if you
fact, it's
like that,
really
think about that. If you like diversity so much, the leftists that want to let this happen, you're giving away your diversity.
well, that's exactly what's happened here. It's again, it's the opposite of what they say is going to happen.
Because they can't think it
And
through.
you really think about this, Barry. The You're bringing up such great points here. I got a thing here. The UK government now categorizes anyone who believes Western culture is under fire is under threat because of migration is a terrorist.
Oh my God.
This
Okay.
is
Just why
this
don't
is
pack your bags and go to Saudi Arabia or so. Leave your country, give it away. I don't know.
This is right out of gov.uk, which is their official, the government's official site here. And it is saying terrorist ideologies, right wing, extreme right wing. We define extreme right wing terrorism as the active or vocal support of ideologies that advocate discrimination or violence against minority groups. The three most common subcategories of extreme right wing terrorist ideologies and their narratives are: the first one is cultural nationalism. So this is how they categorize it. Western culture is under threat from mass migration and a lack of integration by certain ethnic and cultural groups. If that's how you feel, according to UK, you're a terrorist, Barry.
Oh my God. It's that's amazing when people throw around all this minority oppression and all that. What
Can I give you the
about
other two?
yeah, yeah.
White ethno nationalism, mass migration from the non white world, and demographic change poses an existential threat to the white race in Western culture, and white supremacism. The white race is biologically, culturally, and spiritually superior than all other races. Look how they're attacking white people.
It's
And
racist.
if you
We
want to
do that here.
preserve your culture, you according to the UK are a terrorist. Now, Keir Strummer, I think I pronounced his name right, with this digital ID, they're saying we want to prevent illegal immigrants from being able to work here. But yet you're the ones that let all those people in.
Uh-huh.
And on your website, it says that anybody that doesn't like this is a terrorist. And then you start to take a look at what's going to happen with this digital ID thing. And look, here's somebody talking about it. It's called the Brit card. For those who think the Brit card is to save us from immigration, this is really what is being done. Say goodbye to your steaks and holidays. If you sign up for this, you'll regret it. And I bet my life on that. A digital ID
Yes.
card won't stop the real problem, which is greedy, controlling governments. It's
Yeah.
us versus them. We're
Yes.
furious about the safety of this country and the women and children within, plus the elderly and veterans who are going without. Not the fact that people could be working illegally. You see, this person says, if this is your concern, you need to give your head a wobble. I think
Uh,
that's an English thing. The only reason why they're crying about people working illegally is because they ain't getting a piece of that damn pie to use it against us. These
yeah.
taxes we're paying for are quite literally paying for our children's dystopian future. And this carbon footprint and digital ID crap will ruin our lives. So
Oh
with
yeah.
digital ID, they're going to track your carbon footprint, and
Oh yeah.
and they'll be able to, you go and they're going to have an allotment of meat that you can
Oh
buy
yeah. Your
because of this.
utilities,
And they'll
everything.
track all of them. No, you can't buy that steak today. You can't travel outside the 15-minute cities. That's a thing now that can happen. Look how they're monitoring our phones with everything that's
Dude,
in
it's
there, all
going
of
to
our apps.
be really, really difficult to prevent this digital ID from happening. It's
And at the
really going to
same
be
time, it's
difficult.
a death knell. I mean, this happens. Of course, they link it to the central bank digital currency, and now the tyranny that comes out of this is unstoppable. And
Totally.
this is a biblical catastrophe that we're looking at here.
And on that note, like usually like to, you got
Let's
anything
lighten it
lighter?
up. Yeah, yeah.
I don't have anything and I
None
do
of
have to
that's going
go.
to happen.
Now, it's going to be really, really difficult to prevent this digital ID from happening. And I don't know how we really do. It seems inevitable, I hate to say.
It, according to the Bible, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. And I do believe that there are ways to delay it from happening. And if we don't do anything, that it's just going to happen. So, we as citizens need to mobilize in order to stand up to the tyranny. I'm working with colleagues of mine. We're putting together a nonprofit called Freedom Forever to stand up to this type of tyranny. We're working on a book called The Red Tsunami, The Silent Storm Killing Your Future. It's a guidebook for survival in this very time. So I really believe that
Good.
it's really incumbent on us. I'm working on this just because my heart loves people. I have that love in my heart, and I love my neighbor. I love you. I love our audience, and I want everybody to be okay. And I don't think this is something we should be looking to make money off of. I think this is something that we need to really do for our kids and our kids,
Yeah.
kids' sake.
Yeah.
Because this way of life is prosperous and it is the life, but we are quickly going towards death here, and we got to reverse the ship here.
Yeah, and I'll say as a positive too, when I'm listening to different media, different podcasts, whether it's Glenn Greenwald, Dave Smith, Rogan, and whoever it may be that has some really important, influential, smart guests, the viewership on them is always in the millions.
Yes.
Which is very, dude, I was watching some quantum physics YouTube videos while I was on vacation. We had a lot of rain, time to kill. So I'm watching like some heavy quantum physics things that are like, how many people do that for fun? Well, 1.7 million people have. And I think, dude, that gave me a lot of hope. There's 1.7 million people are interested enough to sit through 20 minutes
those
of
aren't all bots. Yeah, like I hope that's I
But
hear
it's
you.
my same point with this important media. This is very quickly. Thank you, COVID, for doing this and pushing all these people out to seek for the right, correct information because people are actively doing this and mobilizing.
That is true. Yep. Now that gives me hope too. I'm glad they're all looking at that kind of stuff and really everything else that's going on here. We really need to educate people. Because look how easy, like we were talking about digital ID. You listen to Larry Ellison. Well, don't listen to him, but a lot of other people are saying things that actually sound good. Like, hey, this is going to prevent fraud from happening and all these types of benefits. But remember, I mean, Satan comes to you as an angel, right? Like, oh, this is going to be great, and then you end up in hell.
Yeah, right. Yeah, watch out for that. With that, hey, stay tuned for Mark's AI tip of the week. Those are always fascinating. And please like and share our video, our podcast, however you take in the media. And Merle, fun podcast, kind of very organic. It was
I love it.
Fresh change.
That's the way it's great. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. See ya.
Take care. Well, hello there, over 50, starting over friends. Mark Tennant back with you with your AI tip of the week. This week, Nano Banana, your new image creative assistant. Text or voice to image AI generation has come a long way since early 2023. We've had DALL-E, a couple of versions of DALL-E, DALL-E 2 and DALL-E 3. We have Adobe Firefly, and of course the ever popular and probably one of the best image generators, maybe until now, Midjourney. But the latest AI image generator is called Nano Banana. I love the name. It is part of Google family and it's embedded into Gemini. And with Nano Banana, you can do a bunch of stuff. You can turn your words into stunning images. It converts one picture into infinite creative options. You can upload multiple images to blend scenes or combine ideas. If you're a creative, it is fantastic. And it's your new creative assistant for images. And best of all, Nano Banana, it's free. Although the free version limits you quotas daily on it, but I've put it through its paces, the free version, and that's what we're going to show you here in a second. And it gives you a lot for free. It's really well worth it. Again, embedded inside of Gemini. So with that, let's have a look at Nano Banana. And we are inside of Gemini, gemini.google.com, and this is where you can start interacting with Nano Banana. So if you just select this icon down here in the text window, you will see Create Images with the little banana icon. You know you're in the right place. Just go ahead and select that tool, and it comes up in your text window there. And we're just going to do something pretty simple right now. So we're going to say, create a bicycle shop on the corner of a busy street. And let's see what it does. And Nano Banana takes a few seconds, and look, it generated that right on the corner, and I mean the corner of a street. Look at that. You could give it more instruction too and add on to this and be a little more creative and have it actually look more photo-like. Just all you have to do is just talk with the AI. So let's add on to this, and this is where it's consistent. It's going to maintain the photograph, the image that it creates, while I add something to it. So say, let's call the shop Mark's Bicycle Shop. And let's have a look. So while it's generating the image, and it probably takes anywhere between 20 and 30 seconds an image, depending upon the prompt. And look right there, Mark's Bicycle Shop, while maintaining the entire image. Unbelievable. Next, we're going to add an image. So let's go down here to the add files. We're going to upload files. And this is a beach scene from Bonita Springs, Florida. And let's say add dolphins jumping out of the water. So it takes an image. This is an image I took last July. And with any luck, we're going to see dolphins jumping out of the water here in just a moment. Again, it is so versatile. You can be so creative with it, and the ideas can just come and they just flow. And look at that, right off the beach. And really, this wasn't too far off. There were a lot of dolphins that day I was on the beach. So there you are, just a couple of ideas. Be creative with it, have fun with it. That is what Nano Banana is all about. So to wrap up, Nano Banana delivers high quality image with text or just your voice. You can blend multiple images into one with high quality. Nano Banana is conversational. You can just talk to it and say, no, I don't like this. Let's do that. And it's cost effective, very cost effective. It's a powerful image generator while maintaining creative control for you. It's terrific for improving and cleaning up existing photos. Nano Banana can generate new images or transform sketches into realistic scenes. And Nano Banana is free inside of Google Gemini. And I want to hear what you create. Send your pictures to me. Let me know any questions as well. Mark@marktennant.net. I would just love to hear from you. And let's connect on the socials. I am on LinkedIn at Mark E. Tennant. So until next time, keep playing with AI. Have fun with image generators, including Nano Banana. Try it today, and we'll see you next time. Take care.